$29 million to strengthen the political landscape in Bangladesh.
To build that military base in Bangladesh to counter Chinese influence, and the Bangladeshi Prime Minister doesn't want to do it.
পুলিশের ফায়ারিং এ কম লাগছে সিভিলিয়ান প্লেসে হাতে 7.62 আপনারা নিজেই দেখছেন।
As the regime change occurred in Bangladesh in August 2024 as a result of the violent anti-quota movement, it has been alleged that a genocide has occurred. Has a genocide really occurred? Or is it a well-orchestrated lie? According to the United Nations definition, genocide refers to the mass killing of people with the intent to eliminate them, either partially or entirely. Some of the historical examples of genocide are the mass killings of people through the gas chambers with Jewish origin during World War II, the systematic killing of Bengalis by the Pakistan Army during the Independence War of Bangladesh in 1971, and the ethnic cleansing of Bosnian Muslims by the Serbs during the 1990s. In each of these occasions, the number of people killed ranges anywhere from 500,000 to 6 million. A fair estimate of the number of people killed in the July-August 2024 movement is between 800 and 1,400. Although this number is significantly lower than the number of people killed in different occurrences of genocides, it is indeed unfortunate. Any time when citizens of a nation are killed because of violence, it is regrettable. However, can we really call it a genocide? At best, we can conclude that the government should have handled the situation better and should take responsibility for the unfortunate loss of lives. Why then is the current regime led by Professor Yunus trying to persuade the international community that a genocide has taken place? Why are the anti-quota movement students leaders who are mostly directly or indirectly affiliated with extremist groups proclaiming that the Awami League government committed a genocide? It is now an open secret that both domestic and foreign forces conspired to topple the government led by Sheikh Hasina. US President Donald Trump and former US State Department official Mike Pence have publicly spoken about this conspiracy.
Give an example from just a few months ago, Prime Minister in Bangladesh who was basically ousted in a sort of military coup coupled with a color revolution. It appeared that U.S. statecraft was not particularly pleased with Sheikh Hasina winning this, the Prime Minister winning the election, and let's just say it really is vital to U.S. national interests to build that military base in Bangladesh to counter Chinese influence, and the Bangladeshi Prime Minister doesn't want to do it. And so our foreign policy planners decide we need to do regime change.
Additionally, Professor Jeffrey Sachs of Columbia University has already revealed this regime change conspiracy in one of his articles. In 2018, following massive protests against the quota system in government jobs, the quota system was fully abolished. However, on June 23, 2024, the High Court mysteriously reinstated the quota system. Within just 3 weeks, the protests escalated into a violent movement, something no one had predicted. Why did all of a sudden an issue that was resolved surfaced with this intensity? Bangladesh, since its independence, has time and again witnessed violent political protests, often involving arson and vandalism. In response, the different regimes used force to suppress these movements through different means. But never before has the 7.62 caliber bullet been used in such a manner. So, why did then the Awami League government decide to use military-grade bullets against the students, particularly if the protest was peaceful? It could easily use conventional means to suppress the protest. Can a government be so naive? On August 1st, 2024, Protham Alo published a report stating that 212 people were killed in the last 2 weeks of July. Of the 175 confirmed deaths, 137 victims, 78%, were killed by 7.62 caliber bullets, while 22 were shot with pellet guns. Use of pellet guns by the police is believable in riot control. However, under no circumstances, it is believable that police used the lethal military-grade 7.62 bullets. Where would they get this class of bullet? On February 22, 2025, the United Nations Human Rights Commission released an investigation report on the killings. It stated that as of August 5th, 600 people were killed in Dhaka alone, with 467%, dying from gunshot wounds caused by 7.62 caliber bullets. The Bangladesh Army has explicitly stated that they did not open fire. Volker Turk, the United Nations High Commissioner for the Human Rights, confirmed in a BBC interview on March 6th that the army was instructed not to fire on protesters, and they followed those orders.
We actually gave the warning to the army that if they get involved, it means that they may not be able to be a troop contributing country anymore. As a result, we saw changes when Muhammad Yunus took over as the new chief advisor of the interim administration.
If the army didn't fire, and the BGB and police also denied using lethal force, then who fired these deadly military bullets? Brigadier General Shakawat Hossain, the former Home Affairs advisor, publicly questioned how civilian groups obtained these military-grade weapons.
আমার কাছে খুব আশ্চর্য লাগছে যে যা বক্তব্য শুনলাম সে বক্তব্যতে মনে হচ্ছে পুলিশের ফায়ারিং এ কম লাগছে সিভিলিয়ান প্লেসে হাতে 7.62 আপনারা নিজেই দেখছেন 7.62 মানে 7.62 রাইফেল এখন ইনভেস্টিগেশন করার ম্যাসিভ ইনভেস্টিগেশন দরকার যে এরা কারা কাদের হাতে এই রাইফেল যেটা প্রহিবিটেড রাইফেল কাদের হাতে এটা আসছে এই এলাকাতে কে কারা দিচ্ছে এখানে শটগানও আছে এখানে আমি যে কজনের দেখলাম আমাদের ডাক্তার সাহেব যেগুলো দেখালেন এগুলো পুরো বুলেট 7.62 তো এইটা খুবই আমি বলবো যে উদ্বেগজনক একটা পুলিশের হাতে আছে ইউনিফর্ম তার হাতে আছে কিন্তু সিভিল ড্রেসে কারা এটা খুব মারাত্মক মানে তার মানে হচ্ছে যে আমরা সিভিলিয়ানকে আর্ম করেছি
Who were these civilians that used 7.62 caliber bullets? Why was there no investigation? This should have been the first priority of any government investigation. These weapons should have been seized immediately. However, despite 7 months passing since Professor Yunus took office, there has been no investigation into even a single death caused by 7.62 caliber bullets. Is it the case that the culprits who used these bullets were in fact part of this movement? Is it a credible possibility that the Yunus-led government knows about them and is trying to safeguard them? Isn't it true that Professor Yunus basically admitted that this so-called anti-quota movement was in fact a meticulously planned conspiracy to unseat the government led by Sheikh Hasina